Hey, Nation, come on over, because we have some exclusive news. Get ready. Because the information that just came out could be a real game changer for the Detroit Lions season. That's right, there's news about possible reinforcements arriving in Detroit, and the path to the Super Bowl could be taking an even more promising route. So do the following. Get ready. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and click the like button to strengthen the channel, because here the information comes directly, without any fuss. Thank you for your subscription and your like. Now, let's get to the news. The Lions' offense was simply the most explosive in the NFL in 2024, with an insane average of 33.2 points per game. And everything indicates that this offensive power will continue to dominate in 2025. But even with all these absurd numbers, GM Brad Holmes is looking for more reinforcements. And the name that has come up strongly in the last few hours is Gerald Everett, a veteran tight end who recently played for the Chicago Bears. The question that everyone wants to know is it worth bringing this guy back to work with Jared Goff? In addition, the Lions are monitoring TJ Watt's situation with the Steelers. Let's get to the update. The Detroit Lions offense was a true scoring machine last season, with an impressive average of 33.2 points per game, the best in the NFL in 2024. The unit led by Jared Goff not only excited fans, but also put the team among the favorites in the National Conference. Still, the franchise's management, led by Brad Holmes, is always looking for adjustments that can give the team that little something extra in decisive games. And it is in this context that the name of veteran tight end Gerald Everett is once again being speculated as a possible reinforcement. Even with an offensive roster full of talent, considering the return of a familiar piece to the starting quarterback may have its merits, but it also raises serious doubts. Gerald Everett, currently 31, had a low-key stint in 2024 with the Chicago Bears, where he failed to establish himself. He only had 8 receptions for 36 yards all season, which led to his release in February. However, before this drop in performance, the tight end had been on a solid streak, 5 consecutive seasons with more than 400 receiving yards, numbers that indicate a history of relevant productivity. It is also worth remembering that Everett and Jared Goff have a common and productive past from their time with the Los Angeles Rams, where they played together from 2017 to 2020. During this partnership, the veteran accumulated 127 receptions for almost 1,400 yards and 8 touchdowns in 61 games. In other words, there is already an established chemistry, something that could speed up the player's adaptation and integration if he were to wear the Lions jersey again. But the future is not built on the past alone. Although Everett has shown consistency in previous years, his most recent season raises a red flag. With just 147 snaps in passing plays and 12 targets, his ratings by Pro Football Focus were the worst of his career, both in overall grade, 41.5, and specifically as a receiver, also 41.5. These numbers are worrying, especially for a player who is already in his 30s, an age range in which physical decline begins to take its toll on NFL players, especially in contact positions like tight end. In addition, Detroit already has 2 solid names for the position: the young phenom Sam Laporta, who had a brilliant rookie year, and Brock Wright, a player who, despite being more discreet, is extremely reliable and well-liked within the locker room. The direct comparison between Wright and Everett, by the way, does not favor the veteran so much. Wright, only 27 years old at the end of this season, knows Dan Campbell's system like few others and has the confidence of the coaching staff. His role as the No. 2 tight end on the depth chart seems secure, especially considering his commitment to blocking and team chemistry since 2021. While Everett offers more potential as a receiver, his recent performance and the fact that he is an outside name make him less attractive at this point. Additionally, bringing in someone from the outside could negatively impact the chemistry of the group, a factor the Lions have valued heavily in recent years in their roster-building culture. That said, despite all the nostalgia surrounding the possibility of a reunion between Jared Goff and Gerald Everett, the reality shows that this move does not seem to be a priority for the Lions board. The team already has solid pieces at the position and is more focused on strengthening areas that really need attention, such as the rotation of edge rushers or the depth in the cornerback cores. While Everett could add experience and a pre-existing connection with the quarterback, on the other hand, his technical and physical decline makes the investment an unnecessary risk. And on a team that today dreams of the Super Bowl, decisions like this need to be made with a cool head and total focus on what is yet to come. Just imagine Aidan Hutchinson on one side, TJ Watt on the other. It would simply be one of the most destructive duos in the modern NFL. But this possibility, which seems to have come from a parallel universe, may be closer to reality than many people imagine. The name of TJ Watt, one of the most feared pass rushers in the league, has recently entered the radar of discussions involving possible trades. And the Detroit Lions may be the franchise bold enough to make this dream come true. The Steelers? Behind-the-scenes movement with surprising acquisitions like Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith has left a question in the air. Is there financial and strategic space to keep TJ Watt long-term? Meanwhile, the player, clearly unhappy with his contract situation, continues to be absent from off-season training, a silence that screams for answers. And it is precisely in this vacuum that the Lions can act with surgical precision. TJ Watt is not just any player. We're talking about a defender who has a string of achievements: 7 Pro Bowl appearances, 4 first-team All-Pro nominations, and an entire career dedicated to instilling fear in opposing quarterbacks. Drafted by the Steelers in 2017, he is undoubtedly an icon of the franchise. But idols are also tradable when the situation gets tough, especially with a salary cap under pressure from names like Ramsey. The Steelers are firm in their argument that they want Watt to retire in Pittsburgh, but the NFL is a business, and business changes when opportunities like this arise. The contract impasse, the absence from training, and the arrival of new hefty salaries create a rare opening that a smart team can exploit. And among all the possible candidates, no one is in a more strategic position than the Lions, the Detroit Lions. Enter the equation with a very strong argument: draft capital. With valuable picks in the coming seasons and a young, talented, and ready-to-compete roster, the Michigan franchise could offer the kind of package that is starting to mess with the minds of executives in Pittsburgh. The best offer: a 2026 second-round pick, a 2026 fourth-round pick, and a 2027 fifth-round pick. Now, let's be honest, TJ Watt is worth more than that. Yes, a first-round pick would be fair, even expected, considering the player's pedigree and performance. But there's one crucial detail: Watt is entering the final year of his contract. That makes him, on paper, a luxury rental. And that completely changes his market value. Unless, of course, the Lions plan to re-sign him right after the trade. And that's where the crossroads come in. Re-signing TJ Watt would mean investing heavily now and dealing, sooner or later, with the bills that will come his way. The Lions' young core, formed by talents like Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, Brian Branch, and Jack Campbell, will be eligible for extensions as early as next offseason. Committing a significant portion of the salary cap to a veteran star could put that structure at risk in the medium term. On the other hand, the immediate impact of TJ Watt's arrival would be huge. With enough salary cap space to cover a 1-year contract, Detroit could put together the best edge rushing combo in the NFL, and in a year where the Super Bowl window is wide open, that boldness could be just what's needed to take the final step. The big question is, are the Lions willing to gamble big now to reap immediate results? With Watt and Hutchinson terrorizing NFC QBs, the scenario changes completely. Opposing defenses would be forced to rethink every play, and Detroit's offense would have even more opportunities to shine. with the ball returning quickly thanks to defensive pressure. The psychological impact of a duo like that on the field cannot be underestimated. Is it a risky move? Yes, but it's also the move of a team that refuses to live on promises and wants to turn potential into glory. And for you, Lions fan, would it be worth sacrificing future picks for TJ Watt, even if only for 1 year? Or would it be better to stick with the long-term plan with the young talent? Comment below, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell. Because if this change happens, we will be here to cover every second of this revolution in the Motor City. It's not just about defense, it's about making history. And the history can start now until the next update.